All right, this is the not bad spiral solution that I shared with you. So this is a bonus video for the other, in addition to the other three. Important thing to talk about, random color custom block. So I went down to my blocks, and you make a block and you name it, and that gives you this thing over here, which you can use, and that's where you call the function. But then also you define the function over here. A custom block is like a function. So what's it doing? I'm randomizing the color. First thing is I have a variable called color, and I controlled that. I set that up over here under variables, and I set the color to pick random 1 to 3. That is a thing here in the operators menu. So that value, one of those three values, 1, 2, or 3, is stored under color. Now we have conditional loops using if. If the color equals 1, let's set the color to red. If it's 2, let's say green. If it's 3, let's say blue. So it's essentially a random choice between these three colors every time you call this function, every time you run this custom block. And so I put that in a couple places. Another thing that I can do to spice this up real quick is to have a loop that changes every time it repeats. How about that? So let's create another variable. I'm going to go over here and make a variable called count. And when I start my program, I just want to make sure I set the count to, let's say, 1. All right, so what is it doing? I'm going to make this spiral get bigger with each round. So how about this? Instead of driving forward for 300, I'm going to grab an operator from over here. And I'm going to use a plus operator. Let's call this 300 plus count. And every time you go through this, you know what? It'll only go up 30 times, so that actually won't make much of a difference. Let's kick this up another notch and say I'm going to put a multiply block there, 5 times the count. 300 plus 5 times count, which means it'll be 305, 310, 315, 320, etc. And then you'll actually notice the differences. Okay, so it's set to 1. How do we make the count get bigger every time? Hey, change it by 1. So I'm going to pause this and show you what it looks like. Cool. So it just finished the first spiral, and instead of a regular looking star like it was before, now, because it was getting bigger with every loop, it's kind of warped. It's kind of like reality is twisted. And there's even maybe a little 3D effect there. And now, of course, it's going in and starting the second part, which I did not, in fact, change. And it's crashing into the wall a little bit. So I'm going to hide this and just show you those changes real quick for a second. Let me pull this over so it's not in the way. So we set the variable at the beginning to some basic value. We use the variable in the way we want to use it. In this case, we used it to calculate how far forward we were going. And with every repeat loop, we changed it by 1, which is to say it goes up by 1 every time.